All right. Hello, everyone. Well, at least those of you who will join me, and those of you watching on the playback. Let me make sure you know the routine. Let me make sure I can see myself on YouTube. I am on location in upstate New York. I'm going to talk about that shortly. And I do not have a hard line going into my computer. So let's see. Yep, there's me. Thank you to whoever gave that like. I really, really appreciate it. You know, YouTube is funny, man. It's funny how people can watch something and you can ask them to like it and they'll completely ignore it. And I think when I was first thinking about getting into YouTube or even first starting out, I realized as a scientist, you think about the percentages. Most videos, the ones that really, really pop, I think the ratio is 10%. So the ratio of likes to views is usually what I look for, or it's usually what I hope for. I hope for 10%. So if it's less than that, I'm like, come on, guys, give me, if you took the time to click on this, you could at least like it. And then if it's more than that, if it's more than 10%, then I, I think the engagement is really, really good. Please hit that like button. I'm going to cover a lot today. We're going to talk about the contagion and the world event and what's happening over in Southeast Asia. But I'm going to give a little extra uh, to start this off. Please hit that like button if you haven't. I'm going to make an announcement over on my original channel. And then I'm going to play the intro and then I'm going to jump in. There shouldn't be any surprises today. There shouldn't be any black hats flying across the screen. My old man has left the building, so I don't think there'll be any mischief today. For those of you who watched me on Monday and you saw something come flying across the screen and you saw me mute up and start, and I started reprimanding someone, that was my father. In his seasoned years, he's prone to mischief sometimes. And he came in and he saw me live streaming and he said, "Oh, I guess I'll just throw this hat in front of the screen while he's talking to his audience." So there shouldn't be any of that today. Aquateki, what's going on? Thank you for being here as always. Aquateki, you might be the most, you and Doug might be the most enthusiastic supporters of this channel, and I appreciate that. Okay, let me make this announcement over on my community tab, over on my original channel. Of course, I'll give it a like too. I don't have my usual desk here. I have a card table, so I'm trying not to shake the screen. I'm trying not to shake because on the playback out there in viewerland, you guys can see the screen shaking. So, okay, I just shared that. And I'm going to go back to my original, back to my science channel. Aquateki says, parents never stop messing with their kids. Yeah, it's funny. They say, Aquateki, that when parents become elderly, when they become elderly and they reach those seasoned years, sometimes they regress back to more of an infant and a childlike state. I don't know if you've experienced that with your folks yet, but uh, definitely on the paternal side, I've experienced that. So that's just an aside. Okay, If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. Hey everyone, I'm happy this computer is still here. I don't know if you saw my short or my TikTok last night, but I spilled some tea. It was cold tea from a chain called Stewart's here in the Capital District. That tea had honey in it, and it had some lemon juice in it. And I was loading a little clip onto Instagram last night. No, late yesterday afternoon. It was sitting right here. I accidentally tipped it over, and then there was liquid all over my keyboard, and then the computer just went whoop. And I said, "Oh my goodness, that was dumb. What am I going to do?" So then I had to kind of dry the keyboard off and turn the computer over, and it wouldn't. I waited about an hour or so, try to boot it back up. It took its time booting up, and then once I entered my PIN, it wouldn't go into my home screen. So I said, "Oh crap, this computer is dead." And then I read some articles on Google about what to do when you get liquid on your computer. It said all. I saw articles saying all kinds of things from wait for a few days before using it to take the battery out, take the computer apart, take the parts out. That's all beyond my realm of expertise. But then it said if you can, take it to go see an expert. So I hauled ass to the local Best Buy. Of course, I didn't have a reservation, so they couldn't get me in. But one of the techs sat there. We talked about it. He told me you're probably going to need a new computer because this is a seventh. This has a seventh generation processor, and we're now in 12th generation and 13th generation. And he said, I don't know if it's going to boot back up, but you might want to think about getting a new one. And then as we were sitting there talking, I entered my PIN, and then it let me in. So the computer's happy. So it's back to where it was. Knock on wood. So anyway, I'm going to play the intro, and then we'll jump in. There's a bunch of things I want to cover today. Do you have a gaming desk? No, right now I'm not. I'm visiting, and I have a card table here at this particular location. So I have to be very gentle touching this table because it will wobble. Anyway, let me play the intro, and then I will jump in. Please hit that like button if you haven't. The likes are free and they help with the engagement. As you know, there's no super chat or no AdSense over here. So if you want to donate something, you can do that here. Based upon today's topic, I'm going to be using some code words and I'm going to be tiptoeing around some of the words. So just FYI, Aquatechy says, really, I've resurrected more than my fair share of drenched PCs. Wow. I had one, the previous unit I had before this one, my best friend. Oh, today's my best friend's birthday, by the way. I have to hit him up. But he was visiting me, and I went out somewhere, and there was a leak in the roof of my condo. And I came back, and he was panicking because there were drips were water was dripping on my old computer, and he said the screen went blank, and he was panicking. So he called his buddy, and his buddy told him to just turn it off, set it on its side. So that computer survived. So computers, these things can survive liquid, but I wouldn't recommend it. So keep your water, keep your tea, keep your coffee away from your electronics. Okay, the intro. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday and happy holiday season, whether or not you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you decide to celebrate, or even if you don't celebrate and it's just another Friday for you. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology, and welcome if it's your first time. Um, so Aquatechy, one question. So my that tea, it had honey in it and lemon juice. And right now some of my keys are sticky. So I got some cotton swabs and some isopropyl alcohol. So at some point I'm going to shut my unit down today and try to uh, get get whatever is left on these keys off, because right now some of them are sticking. So hopefully I won't damage the electronics. But if you have any tips for cleaning keys after something like this, it sounds like you've done this quite a bit. I don't know if you spilled tea on your computer like I did, but let me know there in the chat if you have any tips or tricks or anything. I know on some computers the keys actually pop off, but I'd rather not pop the keys off of this unit. Anyway, so quick announcement: if you're just coming in, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't. I got confirmation from Dr. Patrick Dix. So I think on Instagram he calls himself the Automation King. So we are scheduled to do a Q&A on Monday. So we're going to rock out the day after Christmas. Well, assuming I get out to Buffalo. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. But he confirmed. So look for a discussion on automation on Monday afternoon around 2 Eastern time. So I'm going to start with a little bit of weather and a little bit of climate today. The Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you have a plan or plans to do certain things, and then life throws you a curveball and says, "No, you can't do that today." Well, as you guys know, there's a storm system, a bomb cyclone hanging around the Great Lakes. So my plan this morning was to wake up and drive to Buffalo, but my mother did Aquatechy, since we're talking about parents. She did text me. I'm over in the Albany area now. She did text me earlier in the week and say you should come soon because the weather's moving in. On Friday, you might not be able to come. I said it's not supposed to start until Friday afternoon, so I'll just come out Friday morning. Well, this morning I got one of those aggressive, protective mother texts and said, "You can't come today. Don't come. Don't get on the road." So I'm here in Albany for a little bit longer, hopefully just till tomorrow, at the latest Sunday morning. But this is what's going on. Let's talk a little bit of climate really quickly, and let's talk a little bit of winter weather. Um, and interestingly, on the drive up here to upstate New York, north central upstate New York, I was watching a lot of climate videos, but the other side, the folks who are not as convinced that the world is ending. So look for more content like that going forward in the new year. So this is the Great Lakes right now. I guess this is and we're gonna talk about what a bomb cyclone is. But these are the Great Lakes right now, and you see those white curly things. When I looked up the Buffalo weather this morning, I think those are bomb cyclone symbols, because whenever at every time in weather prediction, those things were there. So let's take a look at and see what's happening in Western New York right now in terms of real time data. Okay, so this is a Doppler radar for those climate folks out there who are more savvy on this than me. I believe this is a Doppler radar. So that's what's over northern Pennsylvania and western New York right now. That is the bomb cyclone. I'm over here in the Albany area, so there's nothing happening outside right now. But apparently things are pretty bad in Western New York. They shut down. They advised everyone not to go out and not to travel. So hence my mother was very, very irate this morning. So what is a bomb cyclone? I'm just going to read this short characterization. I'm not going to read the entire thing. But since we're talking about it, let's talk about what a bomb cyclone is. And since this is a STEM channel, it's only appropriate to talk about what it is. So what is a bomb cyclone? Here's how this powerful type of storm forms. I'm just going to read these first three paragraphs, and I'll drop the link in the chat if anyone else wants to read it for yourselves. So a bomb cyclone, let me switch my view because I like this view better. All right. A bomb cyclone has become an increasingly common phrase used in the winter to describe powerful low pressure systems that intensify rapidly and are often accompanied by heavy snow and strong winds. You might think this term was made up to capture the public's attention, but it actually has its roots in meteorology. It originated from bombogenesis. The term bomb cyclone came from the meteorological term bombogenesis, which refers to the central pressure of a low pressure system dropping at least 24 millibars within 24 hours. You can even find it defined as this in the American Meteorological Society glossary. Simply put, this means a storm is intensifying quickly, which can result in more severe impacts than what a weaker storm would produce. So I think that's a satellite, yeah, a satellite view of Winter Storm Grayson after it became a bomb cyclone along the East Coast in January 2018. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat in case anyone wants to read more about bomb cyclones. Hello, really, Chris. How are you? Always great to see you appear in the chat there. Chris, I mean, I don't want you to dox yourself, but you're in Texas, right? I heard that it's really, really, really cold in Texas right now. A few people have told me that. So I'm not disputing global warming or climate change. I mean, for certain parts of the country, this is normal this time of year, but Texas is going through its own cold weather patterns right now, which Texas has experienced in recent years. Okay, okay, so that's that. That's why I'm still in the Albany area, and this is what's happening in upstate New York right now. Before I talk about the bug, by the way, I'm wearing my University of Michigan Department of Pharmacology fleece jacket. I'm wearing this. They're not involved with this live stream in any way. So, if you're watching this, this is not being given by the University of Michigan Department of Pharmacology. This is being given by me. I'm a graduate of the University of Michigan Department of Pharmacology. So, I'm not trying to encumber them in anything. Chris says, yes, I am. It is very cold and snowed yesterday. We dropped down to 2 degrees last night. Yeah, if I recall correctly, Texas in general, I think during the pandemic, Texas had a severe freezing incident as well, which caught everybody by surprise nationally, but I'm sure there in the Texas, in the state of Texas. So cold weather is not confined to the Great Lakes and the Northeast. And if you guys recall correctly, years ago, even Atlanta had its own freezing event. So who knows what's going on now with the weather and the climate. Art Newstall, thank you for stopping through. I saw a couple of links from you the last couple of nights. Same deal. I'm typically winding down at that time of night, but if you do something this week, I will try to come up and say a few words. Okay. Most of you know that I'm a blogger. I just sent out my newsletter yesterday. Thank you to those of you who signed up. One of my customers, sent me another piece of content to publish this morning. I'm trying to get all the content up and all the revenues in for 2022. But this one just happened to um, it just happened to be applicable to this channel. It's short, so I'm going to read it, and then we're going to talk about what's happening with the bug over in Southeast Asia. This one is more along the career context and in the career space, and specifically the medical field. So on this channel, we do current events, we do STEM education, we do careers, we do all of it. So this one is short, and this is from my blog. Please continue to comment there if you have thoughts or questions or anything. I like these to be as interactive as possible. Chris said, by the way, yes, and our grid is still trash, unfortunately. Well, Chris, that grid probably wasn't built for Arctic temperatures. Infrastructure and housing, those things are built for specific climates, and it's unusual for Texas. It's unusual for states like Texas to get Arctic weather, at least during my lifetime. Okay, so this blog post is entitled "Exploring Different Career Paths in the Medical Field." Okay, this is short. Two focuses of my blog are career discussions in STEM. STEM meaning science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The medical field is a STEM field. Physicians are scientists in the process of treating disease and sickness. They are using scientific principles. So physicians, surgeons, pharmacists, those are STEM professionals as well. Two focuses on my blog are career discussions in STEM. There are many options in the medical field aside from being a medical doctor or a physician. If you want to get into the field, it's important to think about all of the options. The following contributed post is entitled "Exploring Different Career Paths in the Medical Field." Okay. The medical field is a broad and varied industry with many career paths and opportunities. From doctors and nurses to surgeons and pharmacists, there are various options available to those looking to pursue a career in the medical field. Whether you're just starting out or looking to switch up your current job, exploring different career paths in the medical field can help you find the path that's right for you. With the proper education and training, you can find rewarding and fulfilling roles in the medical field that match your skills and interests. This article will explore the different career paths in the medical field and the options available to you. Whoa, vaccine research. How about that? Vaccine researchers study and develop new vaccines to protect against infectious diseases. They also monitor the safety and efficacy of vaccines and help make sure they're accessible to the people who need them. Okay, I won't say that. Vaccine researchers work in various industries such as government, academia, and the biopharmaceutical sector. Vaccine researchers typically need a PhD in immunology, microbiology, or related fields. A master's degree may also be sufficient depending on the employer and the type of work you're doing. Most researchers work in a lab setting, conducting experiments and studying samples. There are several types of careers within the vaccine research field. For example, you could work in vaccine discovery, development, and testing for polio eradication, regulation, or safety. Most researchers also assist with educating the public about vaccines and working with doctors and other healthcare providers to determine which vaccines are needed and how they should be administered. Are you guys still out there? I'm a little cautious of using that word because YouTube is policing certain things, and as you guys know, with this current health crisis, I don't know if the health crisis is still here, but that's now it's being looked at with a bit of controversy in terms of these immunizations, in terms of was this a big cash grab by pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and Johnson? Was all of this just one big cash grab? Also, uh, misinformation has been a huge thing associated with this health crisis. So, do immunizations, I'm trying to say immunization instead of vaccine, do immunizations prevent you from getting sick? Do they stop you from coming into contact with said contagion? The answer is no. Immunizations will not stop you from getting sick. They won't stop the thing from getting into your bloodstream. What immunizations will do is they will increase your ability to fight those infections off. So, a lot of controversies surrounding this health crisis that we're arguably still in, but no one's really talking about anymore here in the United States. Okay, cancer researcher. Cancer researchers study cancer's causes and developmental processes and the effectiveness of different treatments. Cancer researchers examine human and animal tissues, looking for patterns and connections that may help us understand the disease better and develop new therapies. Cancer researchers typically need a PhD in a biomedical science, such as oncology, genetics, microbiology, or immunology. A master's degree may also be sufficient depending on the employer and the type of work you're doing. Most researchers work in lab settings, conducting experiments uh, and analyzing data. Some researchers even do field work studying samples outside a lab setting. Uh, this may also this may include examining soil, water, or air samples to see if they contain any traces of cancer-causing agents. Okay. Cancer has been around for years. To date, there's no cure for it. There may never be a cure for it. And one of the suspicions of the pharmaceutical industry is that they don't want to find cures for things. They just want to keep treating patients, the pharmaceutical slash medical complex. So cancer researchers are that's work that will arguably never go anywhere in terms of the need for people working in it. A lab technician. Lab technicians help scientists conduct experiments in various settings, including university and commercial research labs. Lab technicians typically need an associate's degree in laboratory technology. Certification programs are also available for technicians interested in advancing in their field. Lab technicians help scientists conduct experiments, maintain lab equipment, and prepare samples for analysis. They may also help with the design and implementation of experiments. Most lab technicians work in a lab setting, but some also work remotely uh, by video conferencing. In a lab setting, technicians typically work with a small with small experiments and samples. However, they may occasionally assist with large scale experiments as well. Okay, this is almost done. If you haven't, please hit that like button. The likes are free. If you want to make a donation to the channel for this information, my Cash App and PayPal are here. I don't have AdSense over here yet, a super chat or super thanks. So when you think about my background, when you think about Nicole Ali's background, these are all moving parts in those backgrounds, in our backgrounds. Cytotechnology. Cytotechnologists help diagnose and treat issues related to the body's cells and tissues. They're often found in pathology labs, conducting microscopic slide tests and analyzing samples to look for signs of disease. Cytotechnologists also often assist pathologists during autopsies and other medical procedures. Cytotechnologists typically need a 2-year associate's degree in cytotechnology and certification from the American Society for Clinical Pathology. Many employers also prefer that cytotechnologists complete continuing education courses throughout their careers. Cytotechnologists usually work in a pathology lab setting with samples and slides to look for signs of disease. This may include preparing samples, making diagnoses, and assisting in treating diseases. Okay, I did not have a nice working term of what a cytotechnologist was before reading that, but again, it's important to think about, and I'm talking to Dr. Patrick Dix on Monday about automation. It's really, really important for people to think about now how they're going to position themselves to be needed and indispensable in the future. If automation is really coming and if it's going to wipe away a lot of jobs and careers, it's important to think about and to share with the younger people in your circles this type of information. How are you going to be indispensable and necessary in the economy in the future? So in conclusion, with the proper training and education, you can explore a career in the medical field and make a meaningful difference in people's lives. No matter which medical field you choose, there are various factors to keep in mind, such as work environment, salary, and job outlook. You may also want to consider your interests and skills to help you decide which career path is best for you. Okay. So on this channel, I want to cover current events. I want to interview people, which I do, but I also want to have the educational component as well, so people can get into these fields, and people who you all know can get into these fields if they want to, or if they have the aptitude for these fields. In my community, there aren't, relative to the total population, there aren't a lot of STEM professionals. So it's important to get this information out. Okay, this link I'm going to put is in the description box, but I'm going to drop it in the chat as well. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments there in the chat. This is more fun if it's interactive. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the bug. My goal is to read 2 pieces here. They're not long. Of course, they never look long when you skim through them, but when you're reading them, they take longer. I may try to talk around certain words so as not to upset the algorithm or to trigger a violation of community guidelines. Those of you who've been with me for a while, you know this channel was removed for a short, and YouTube was gracious enough to restore it, but they are policing certain words and certain topics. Okay. If you're just coming in, it would really help out if you'd hit that like button. And if you're new, it would really help out if you would subscribe. Yeah, those are free and they help a great deal. All right. In the midst of my blogging and everything I have happening online, posting articles, posting content for my customers, I see lots of information being shared in some of the articles. I say, whoa, I can present that on my STEM channel. So I saw this one recently. I'm not going to read this one. It's in the description box below. And you can read it for yourself. This title is very, very it's very, very sensationalized and it's very spectacular. This one says, it reads, C-19 is about to explode in China. What that could mean for the United States. I'm not going to read this one. It's below in the in the description box. I'll drop the link here in the chat in case you want to read it. But the question is, it sounds like they're still dealing with it to a large degree over in China. And so the question is, what does that mean for us? To me, it sounds like we need to restrict travel from that part of the world uh, so as to minimize the damage here. But also, if you think about economics, I believe we get a lot of our products from China. So if China's economy goes down for whatever reason, there could be yet another ripple effect on the rest of the world. So this has far reaching and long reaching ramifications. The other thing is the fuel and the energy. Um, with China not being completely open, that's less of a strain on petroleum products. So if China opens back up, the sooner they open up, we could see a spike in gas prices. So in a way, it's good for them to be kind of closed down. I mean, I don't want to wish death on anybody or sickness on anybody, but there are a lot of moving parts here. Anyway, that's in the description box. It's there in the chat. You can read it for yourself. This next one I thought was definitely worth highlighting because I just read in that blog post about vaccinations. And when you think about vaccinations, one concern is that the contagion may mutate so that your immunization no longer is protective for it. Apotheki says reports say authorities are having difficulty enforcing mandated quarantines. Yeah, with all those people over there, I could definitely see that. Okay. So immunizations and antigenic shift. Before I read that, let's go over antigenic shift really, really quickly. And there's the title, the fast spreading new C-19 subvariant XBB is part of a new class of the Omicron. I hope YouTube doesn't take this down. Let's just take a really quick look at an antigenic shift. So you guys have context for what's going on here. Okay, let me close that. Bear with me for a moment here. I hope you all are having a good Friday. Are you all looking forward to the quote unquote holidays? For everybody's different. Some people don't celebrate the holidays. Some people don't care. Some people get depressed this time of year. I hope it's a pleasant season for you all. Some relationships crash during the holiday season for whatever reason. There's that picture. Have you guys got all your shopping done? Do you shop? Do you just shop for yourself? Okay, there it is. Here it is. Aquateki says, one wing of my family is dealing with C19 as we speak. I've had a bit of a cough. I went to the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis about 2 to 3 weeks ago. Michigan won. We're Big Ten champs for the second straight year. But I had a bit of a cough afterwards, a bit of a scratchy throat afterwards. I don't know if that's what it was. I know in the arena, the draft was coming right down on where I was sitting. And of course, the arena was packed, Lucas Oil Stadium. But I didn't test myself for it. Okay, antigenic shift of virus A versus virus B mutating. This is the background for the stream. So some contagions, they mutate slowly. Okay. There you could see virus A giving rise to virus B. So the top is the novel coronavirus. The bottom is the influenza virus. I got both jabs, by the way. And then you can see that the influenza virus, in this cartoon, it mutates a lot faster to give rise to multiple strains. So with the concern, if you have a critical mass of people not getting immunized, is that you're going to have a pool of people for which the contagion can mutate and change to the point where the immunizations that were created are no longer effective. So that's the danger with having a critical mass of people not getting immunized. All right. So it appears we have a new variant here. Again, please hit that like button if you haven't. Please subscribe if you're new. I believe this is a short piece. For the past several months, the Omicron subvariants BA4 and BA5 have dominated C19 cases in the US, but now there's a class of new subvariants on the rise. And one in particular is getting plenty of attention. It's called XB or Griffin. Griffon. Griffin or Griffon. And there's a chance it could overtake everything else out there. XBB is getting a lot of buzz because it spreads fast and seems to be able to evade immunity that people have built up from having a previous C19 infection or getting the immunization, says William Schaffner, MD, an infectious disease specialist and professor at the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine. Still, Dr. Schaffner says it's early days and we have a lot to learn. There's the thumbnail for this stream. By the way, guys, this thumbnail, this picture, what does that look like to you? I'm going to stop for a minute. What does that look like? Since we're in the holiday season, what does that look like? Well, to me, this looked like a bit of a holiday C19 picture. It looks like it looks like it's snowing in there, along with the viral particles. So if you think about those balls with the water in them that you turn over and it starts snowing everywhere, that's what that image made me think about when I saw it. So just a little bit of dry humor there. Okay. Here's what we know about XBB so far and why doctors are keeping a close eye on it. Um, XBB is of the quote unquote new class of Omicron variants that are spreading fast right now, says Thomas Russo, MD, professor and chief infectious disease uh, at the University of Buffalo. What a coincidence, in New York. That includes BQ.1.1, BQ.1, BQ.1.3, BA.2.3.20, and XXB, he says. XXB is a hybrid version of two strains of the BA2 form of Omicron, explains Amesh Ajalja, MD, a senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. Is currently spreading efficiently in Singapore, he adds. Okay, so hence the name of the stream, what's happening with C19 in Southeast Asia. The variant was first detected in August 2022 in India and has been detected in more than 17 countries since then, including Australia, Bangladesh, Denmark, India, Japan, and the United States. Per Singapore's Ministry of Health, XBB is thought to have the best ability to evade antibody protections of the newly emerged variants, according to a preprint study from researchers in China. That study said that the new strains of Omicron, the XBB in particular, are the most antibody evasive strains tested, far exceeding BA5 and approaching SARS-CoV-1 level. Meaning the immunization, and having previously had C19 are not thought to offer the same level of protection against XBB as they have with previous strains of C19. Antibody drugs like Evusheld and bebtelovimab, I'm going to get this, bebtelovimab, may also not be very effective against XBB, the preprint study says. These variants are evolving to evade protection. Dr. Russo says the bivalent booster is likely going to be protective against severe disease with XBB, but will be imperfect against preventing infection, Dr. Russo says. Don't panic though, when it comes to evasion of vaccine protection, it's important to recognize that vaccine protection is not all or none, Dr. Ajalja says. Even with immune evasive variants, vaccine protection against what matters most, severe disease, remains intact. So symptoms, what are the symptoms of this variant? So far, symptoms of XBB seem to be similar to what they've been with C19 in general. According to the CDC, they include fevers or chill, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea or vomiting, diarrhea. How contagious is it? Like other strains of Omicron, XBB is thought to be very contagious. Singapore's Ministry of Health notes that the variant now makes up 54% of C19 cases in the country, up from 22% week 4. Singapore's Ministry of Health says that XBB is at least as transmissible as currently circulating variants, but as there is no evidence that XBB causes more severe illnesses. Okay, we're at the end here. Again, please hit that like button if you haven't. If you're new, please subscribe. Okay. I'm going to finish this up and read your comments. When will it peak? There are a lot of unknowns about XBB right now. While it's detected in the US, BA5 and BA46 continue to be the dominant variants in this country per CDC data. Other variants We're also started, I'm sorry, other variants are also starting to spread at the same time. Dr. Adalja says, and it's unclear which will displace BA4.6 and BA5 in the United States, if they will at all. It's likely to spread to some degree in the US, but unclear if it or some other related variant, such as BQ.1.1, will become dominant. Dr. Schaffner says there is some concern about XBB and fellow variants on the rise. Watching what happens over the next several weeks is important. This is below in the description box if you want to keep a copy for yourself. It's also there in the chat. Okay. Aquateki says, one wing of my family is dealing with C19 as we speak. Okay. Yeah, I got clobbered by the Omicron last year. It ruined most of my Christmas because I was supposed to go to Wakanda. That's the nickname for Atlanta. I was supposed to go to Atlanta last Christmas, and the Omicron said, no, you're going to stay in Buffalo while the party goes on. Apoteki says, needless to say, they're being avoided. Yeah. He says, I suppose the slow mutation is one saving grace. This is referring to the thumbnail, the fuzzy ball at the ends of Santa's hat. Aquateki says, okay, I could see the snow globe. Everyone, we're talking about the thumbnail for this stream. I got it from this article, and I made the joke that it looks like this picture of the contagion looks like a bit of a snow globe because it looks like there are snowflakes in there with the viral particles. So that's the joke me and Aquateki are talking about. Mike Rizzi says, just back from the store. Near zero elders are masked up now. This outbreak will be interesting. Yeah, no one's really, well, I haven't, in all honesty, I really don't watch the mainstream news anymore. So I don't know if CNN or MSNBC or Fox News are talking about it. So I don't know. And to the YouTube algorithm, I don't want to spread misinformation and say that there will be a quote unquote outbreak. We're just talking about articles that I found online. As a disclaimer, Aquateki says some people will have to learn the hard way at Mike Rizzi, responding to him. And Aquateki says C19 took me down last Christmas as well. Yeah, that was tough. That was tough because there were events in Wakanda. I think Ti called Atlanta Wakanda. We got to protect Wakanda. There were events down in Atlanta last Christmas and New Year's that I had planned to go to, and I couldn't go. That was rough, but such is life. Okay, I'm going to read one more, and then I'm going to wrap up because we're almost up on an hour here. I'm going to hydrate. Yeah, that Omicron gave me the shivers. I was bundled up. I was wearing a on Christmas Day. I was wearing a skull cap. I was in a sweater. I was drinking tea. That one, yeah, that one. Whew, that was bad. And I did a drive-by test the day out. I was supposed to fly out to Atlanta. I was going to call it Wakanda again. Well, the day I was supposed to fly out to Atlanta, I did a drive-by test because my plus one said you should go get a test. It was the right thing to do. And I got home to my mother's house, got my email via Gmail, and it said, you're positive. And I was like, oh. So I had to go and cancel the flight. And it was just a bad feeling because at 7 o'clock when I was supposed to fly out, I knew that I was supposed to be flying out, and I was stuck at home. So I was stuck at my mother's house, and the party was going to go on without me. Anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna read this one. Into the YouTube algorithm, and to you fine folks running YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. This is not to render medical advice to anybody. This is reported by the Associated Press, so this is for educational purposes only. Aquateki says, my local news has been keeping track of the positivity rates in Maryland. Can't speak for the national news outlets. He says, yep, fever, chills, and muscle aches. Taste and smell remained intact though. You know, the cool thing, everyone, if you're just coming in, please hit that like button. The likes are free. They help with the engagement. And it doesn't take any work. Just please hit that like button. It's the Christmas season. It's the holiday season. Oh, by the way, yesterday in Stewart, someone, I got to pay it forward. Some guy in line paid for my tea. I didn't ask him to pay for my tea, but he says, I'm going to get that guy's tea. I really appreciated that. So I got to pay it forward. So everyone, please pay it forward. Hit that like button. And I don't have a super chat over here. I don't have AdSense over here yet. Someday, hopefully. Someday. If you want to make a donation, whether it's $1 or whatever, my Cash App and PayPal are there. The blessing, and then I'm going to move on. The blessing from last year, even though I caught it, Aquateki caught it too, and my holiday plans were decimated. My mother didn't make me go home. My mother didn't make me drive all the way back to Northern Virginia to sit by myself. She let me stay at the house. She distanced herself from me. She stayed in her room. And I was a little bit depressed too, because I couldn't go and participate in the holiday plans with my plus one. I was a little depressed that I had to cancel my trip. So she tried to keep me hopeful and positive, and she didn't send me home to Northern Virginia. So I will always be thankful to my mother for that, because a lot of relatives would have said, you got to get out of here. You can't stay here. But she didn't do that. Royston Gibbs, how's it going? Only certain, yeah, the capital region, upstate New York, the Albany area. That's where I am. My plan was to go off to Buffalo today, but the bomb cyclone is hovering around the Great Lakes. So I have to stay here for another night. Hopefully just one more night. Okay, let me get into the second piece and wrap up, because I have some other things to do. All right. The WHO is very concerned about reports of severe C-19 in China. Does anyone know what thank you in China is? In Chinese is? You know how to say thank you in Chinese? This is just a random trivial thing. My postdoctoral lab, which was here. I did my postdoc here in the capital region. I was one of 2 Americans in the lab. Everyone else was from China. So I learned a lot about Chinese culture. Does anyone know how to say thank you in Chinese in the audience right now? I'm going to read the article and I'll see if anyone knows it. If not, I'll tell you. The head of the WHO organization said the agency is very concerned about rising reports of severe C-19 disease across China after the country largely abandoned a zero C-19 policy, warning that its lagging immunization rate could result in large numbers of vulnerable people getting infected. There's an image there of a hospital, of a Chinese hospital. Okay. This says a patient turned away from the emergency room due to full capacity at the Beijing No. 2 Central Hospital in Zhuzhou City in northern China's Hebei, Hebei province on Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. So 2 days ago. China only counts deaths from pneumonia or respiratory failure in its official C-19 death toll. A Chinese health official said in a narrow definition that limits the number of deaths reported as an outbreak of the virus surges following the easing of pandemic-related restrictions. So they may be undercounting their cases. Still no takers in the chat. How do you say thank you in Chinese? Okay, it looks like a train station. No, that's the hospital. They're masked up there. They're masked up there. Let me slow down. Okay. At a press briefing on Wednesday, WHO Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the UN agency needs more information on C-19 severity in China, particularly regarding hospital and intensive care unit admissions, in order to make a comprehensive risk assessment of the situation on the ground. WHO is very concerned over the evolving situation in China with increasing reports of severe disease, Tedros said. He added that while C-19 deaths have dropped more than 90% since their global peak, there were still too many uncertainties about the contagion to conclude that the health crisis is over. Some scientists have warned that the unchecked spread of C-19 in China could spur the emergence of new variants, which might unravel progress made globally to contain the pandemic. Yo, what if we went backwards? What if we went back into where we were 2 years ago? You can't control what other countries are doing, but hopefully President Biden and Vice President Harris, hopefully they would be willing to shut down travel from certain parts of the world if they see things getting out of hand in other parts of the world. That's just my hope. Yep, Mike Rizzi got it. He got it. So I would spell it like this. I think this is the proper spelling. In English. Shishi. That's thank you in Chinese. My Chinese coworkers, when I was in that lab, they told me that learning English was hard for them because in for the Chinese alphabet, they're learning those characters. So it's challenging to learn those characters and then to learn the letters of the alphabet. And I think tenses. I think they have a hard time figuring out tenses and context because um, but I guess that's the case for anyone if you're learning a foreign language. I remember one woman, a really lovely young woman. She one time she came in the lab. She said, "Who you are looking for?" Instead of saying, "Who are you looking for?" She said, "Who you are looking for?" Anyway, immunization is the exit strategy for Omicron. WHO Emergencies Chief Dr. Michael Ryan said. Ryan said the explosive surge of cases in China was not exclusively due to the lifting of many of the country's restrictive policies, and that it was impossible to stop transmission from Omicron, the most highly infectious variant yet seen of C-19. He said immunization rates among people over age 60 in China lagged behind many other countries, and that the efficacy of the Chinese-made immunizations was about 50%. 50%. That's just not adequate protection in a population as large as China so many vulnerable people. He added that while China was dramatically has dramatically increased its capacity to immunize people in recent weeks, it's unclear whether that will be enough. To date, China has declined to authorize Western made messenger RNA immunizations, which have proven to be more effective than its locally made jabs. That's interesting. Beijing did agree to allow a shipment of the BioNTech Pfizer immunization to be imported for Germans living in China. So they don't want our immunizations. Maybe they just don't trust it. I don't know. The question remains whether or not enough immunization can be done in the coming week or 2 weeks that will actually blunt the impact of the second wave and the burden on the health system. Like Tedros, he said the WHO had insufficient information about the extent of severe disease and hospitalization, but he noted that nearly all countries overwhelmed by C-19 had struggled to share such real-time data. Ryan also suggested China's definition of C-19 deaths was too narrow, saying the country was limiting it to people who have suffered respiratory failure. So they're undercounting. People who die of C-19 die from many different organ system failures, given the severity of infection, Ryan said. So limiting a diagnosis of death from C-19 to someone with a C-19 positive test and respiratory failure will very much underestimate the true death toll associated with C-19. Countries such as Britain, for example, define any C-19 death as someone who has died within 28 days of testing positive for the contagion. Globally, nearly every country, sorry, globally, nearly every country has grappled with how to count C-19 deaths, and official numbers are believed to be a major underestimate. In May, WHO estimated there were nearly 15 million C-19 deaths worldwide, more than double the official toll of 6 million. Wow. So there isn't even a consensus in terms of counting the deaths. That's fascinating. So there may be more, there may be less, but it sounds like no country knows for sure how many were due to the bug. Aquateki says, well, Mike Rizzi says, whoa, I.e. me, LOL. I know these type phrases from a Chinese girlfriend. Okay. They learn pinyin or something. They write and read in English letters. Aquateki says, you'd think there'd be an international council. Yeah, sharing data left and right to eradicate the virus. Yeah. But I guess national security is a concern for all these countries. So they're probably very hesitant to share things with each other. This article is below in the description box. That's the last one I'm going to read. The link is here. I'm going to show this other one. I'm not going to read it, and then I'm going to wrap up. Let's see. I thought I had it queued up here. Give me a moment. Okay, I had the wrong one queued up. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm going to show this. I'm not going to read it, and it's below in the description box in case anyone wants to read it. Okay, well, I had it. The title, it looks like I copied the wrong link, but the title of this one is US scales back pandemic response as COVID explodes in China. Okay, there's that word, explode, again. So they gave this a very, very they're almost sensationalizing this, but there we are. So everyone, that's what I wanted to share for this one. I like to keep the content coming, and I don't like to talk about this topic all the time because, again, YouTube snatched the channel down because of this about 2 years ago. But I think they might have relaxed their standards a little bit, but I kind of tiptoe around this for practical reasons. So I'm going to wrap this up. I've got a small group here. Does anyone want to say anything? I'll drop the link if someone wants to come and say something. I'll just do it really briefly. Does anyone want to say anything? If not, I'll wrap up. If you come up, keep it as vanilla as possible. The algorithm listens to things and it hears things, and you never know what what someone what someone oh, chaos says there ain't snatching no channel. Now everyone got the shot, the jab. To chaos, you're gonna get me in trouble. Okay, okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It's almost 3 o'clock here on the East Coast. So everyone, hey, please hit that like button if you haven't. There I am in double figures right now, double digits. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna wrap up. I was gonna say something else and I forgot what it was. Forgot what it was. I hate when that happens. Well, you guys know that I'm a blogger and an aspiring author. I just sent my newsletter out, my December newsletter out last night. Some folks got it twice. I meant to just send it to myself the first time, but I sent a rough draft out to everybody, and so folks got it a second time. So please consider joining. Oh, that's what it was. That's what I was going to say, and it was related to this. Um, I'm interviewing Dr. Patrick Dix on Monday. We're going to talk about automation. I learned of Dr. Dix through Erica Williams. Erica Williams has a really cool channel talking about money and business related topics. And Erica gave some really, really sage wisdom one time. She says, you if the channel goes down, okay, uh I still have my other stuff going. So you should join my newsletter. You should know where I am even if the channel goes down. So that's the other advantage of joining the letter. So there's a 2 paragraph greeting, and then there's a subscription button at the bottom. You just click that, and you enter in your email address, and then you'll be on the list. I mean, if folks joined today, I could resend out. I have enough credits to send it back out again to a specific group. But yeah, that's the importance of having your email list. Well, there are several advantages, but if the channel goes down for whatever reason, you can always find me here or in other places. Sometimes if you don't have other things, if you don't have other means for people to contact you, then once your channel's gone and people can't find you. Speaking of which, Chaos, I see you back there. Give me a sec. If you want to reach me outside of YouTube, I have a page on Facebook. There's a Big Words. That's my initial blog right there. There's an email address for my YouTubing, Big Discuss 76 at bigwordsarepowerful.com. There's a Big Words blog site Facebook page. That's my Twitter handle. I like this Twitter account. Well, as long as Twitter's still up to eventually get back up to 1,000. I had a Twitter account that was at 1,000, but what I realized was with Twitter, your Twitter goes back 5 years. So you don't remember what you tweeted 5 years ago, and it can have what you tweeted 5 years ago could have ramifications for you right now in the present. So I deleted that one. So I'd like to get this one up to 1,000 or more. So if you're on Twitter, please consider following me at Big Words Are Powerful. And of course, there's Instagram. I'm not using Instagram to thirst trap. Look at my body. No, I'm using Instagram to further grow my presence. I'm posting shorts up there now. All right, Chaos. Remember, if you say something regarding this, keep it vanilla. Don't try not to trigger the algorithm.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me? Dr. Dummer. All right. You know, isn't it ironic? Back roughly almost 3 years now ago, when this first thing came out, and then it started hit us in March of 2020. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So why is we see some so-called surge again? It seems to me what they're doing is not working. So they think it's something else much more sinister down the line. Because last time I checked, everybody got the thing. And it was
Not everybody.
Let's say it was somewhat resolved. Let's keep it simple, right? But now it looks like now they look at it, they're going to take advantage and say, now since people are so conditioned, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm trying to be as cordial as possible. People going to have to figure out what I'm saying. You get me?
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think people are going to have to be very careful now because whatever they were trying to do did not work 2-3 years ago. So now with this, with Asia, and you know, Dr. I stopped following this for the last year ago because I'm at the point now I see what the real big scheme of things, and I don't really waste time covering it. And trust me, I did get a strike when I had a woman that was a naturopath, and we were not talking about it. We were talking about if you had to go for this, what are the next step phase precautions? And they struck me for that back in 2021, months ago.
I mean, if you were rendering health advice.
No, I mean, it's not how, but it's like how can I say it? Because you know, sometimes when we structure the description, I try to like keep it in a certain way that it doesn't give out. And she knows it's right because she has dealt with social media, so she knows what code word to say. So that way, and they still struck it. You get me? So they didn't want nobody to talk about this at all. You know, even ramifications. So you know what I did when they did that bullshit?
What'd you do?
All right, I'll tell you this, and I for sure would tell you online. I would probably tell you offline.
Hey man, I want to keep the platform PG. So
no. But I'm not talking PG. I give you the secrets of what to do if you know. But I would say this: your email presence. If you have a good, strong email listing, and you put out things in email and people respond to it, that will probably be your safety for now. But usually, your best other bet is other social medias that don't have some restrictions where they take away people's page, like Facebook. They'll suspend you, but they're not gonna remove you. You get me? So if you are you Simon Kansas on Facebook?
No, I'm
you
very,
need to
very
start
careful.
doing that. You're going to have to start doing that now.
No, dude, I'm very careful about what I put over on Facebook. Number one, I think a lot of people can't handle it, and then the other thing is I have coworkers in my Facebook group, so I don't. Yeah, I gotta keep them separate now.
I'll tell you some secret of how to get around that possible. But we'll keep that next time. We'll talk. Not now, right?
I mean,
Yes.
I do have my own page, separate page. I could broadcast over there, but I'm just careful about broadcasting.
Yeah, I know, because now they said people watch now, and really with the automation. And personally, how I look at Dr. Mark, they really just want to create more of unemployment rate for a lot of people. Personally, with these type of tactics now, they find every excuse now to increase the unemployment rate here in the West.
All right, chaos.
Yeah, but
speculating, man. Conspiracy theories, man. Chill.
No, not because. I mean, yeah, but that's far I'm looking at with all this, because we didn't have these issues years ago, and now it's a problem now. So I'm thinking there's something much deeper going on here, and we just go out to use our brain, say, okay, we know what it is now, so we're gonna play it safe for now. You get me?
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to share one more thing before I hop off. Everyone, if you're on Twitter, not everyone is on Twitter. I would follow this guy, Dr. J. Bhattacharya, because he had his own views, and he was on Megyn Kelly's podcast not long ago, and Twitter censored him. And according to him, there were calls from the political class to silence him. So
he has PhD.
Yeah, he's a Stanford guy. He's out of Stanford. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's an MD. He's an MD PhD. So he's a heavy hitter. So if you're on Twitter, I'd recommend following this guy, Dr. J. Bhattacharya. He was critical of some of the things that were being recommended. I just think that science is about evaluating all of the points of view, not suppressing the ones you don't necessarily agree with. If you're going to do that, then you have to show data to rule out what the other person is saying. But I don't believe in just blanketing censoring people who don't believe what you believe. So,
well, this Dr. J, does he have any data if he's going on revealing any information to really back up what he's saying? Because nowadays people going to want proof nowadays. Because
Chaos, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead and follow him. Go ahead and
can you put it in? Is anybody put it in the chat room? Possibly.
I'll drop this. This is a Twitter link.
Okay. Yeah.
So you'll need to be logged into your Twitter.
That's fine.
To see this.
That's fine.
All right. Chaos, you have anything else?
You can lower me down a little bit. Let you wrap up. All
right, everyone. I'm gonna wrap this up. Hey, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, if it didn't start out the way you wanted it to, like mine did, hopefully it ends the way you wanted it to. So hopefully, this bomb cyclone will weekend and I can go out to Western New York. So let's see what happens. And happy holidays, whichever one you celebrate, or even if you don't, have a good weekend. And what was I going to say? It happened again. Oh, Monday at 2:00, I'm interviewing Dr. Patrick Dix, and we're talking about automation. He's going to have some really good things to say. Just listening to him and Erica Williams talk. So if you're not doing anything, please join us. Of course, you can watch it on the playback. Aquatechy, thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the support and the viewership. I really appreciate that. So everyone, if you're watching on the playback, please like, share, and subscribe. Please consider joining my newsletter. Everyone, stay safe out there. Stay warm. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. And always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.